Stoff, mate, home race. Yeah, must be excited, mate. Yeah, hopefully it goes well for you. You've got a new front wing, of course, as well. So that should help, but only one. Only one, so don't crash, mate, or else, well, you run around without a front wing. But I've got one more surprise for you too, actually, mate. Yeah, we've got a very special livery, so hopefully it inspires you to a points finish. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain, and welcome back to Aussie Villain Racing for the Belgian Grand Prix, and we have our second special livery of the year, and I've got to say, I'm quite pleased with this one, obviously going for the Belgian flag, but I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think that looks pretty good. That is probably why I did it. Anyway, let's go and have a look at what we've done to the car, other than the livery, of course, and we've got new front wing. Now, both cars have one chassis. Of course, we should have had the spare one, but Vandoorne took care of that for us in Hungary. So it's just the two right now, which is not ideal. And we have just the two front wings as well, but it has moved us forward quite a bit. So we can see their low-speed corners, we're legitimately good. Now, unfortunately for us, Belgium maybe not known for its low-speed corners, but look at that tyre preservation as well. This is just on the front wing. This isn't actually on the whole car, is it? But here we go. No, this is just the chassis, probably. Anyway, the point is, we've moved forward a little bit. It's top speed and DRS effectiveness, which is probably what we need here, to be honest. Middle sector, though, we have moved forward a little bit. So let's keep our fingers crossed that it goes well, and let's have a quick look at Belgium. Now, I don't think this is a sprint race, is it, this year, or is it? Was Belgium a sprint round? I don't think it was. No, it's not. But we are expecting rain for qualifying and the race, so excellent. Circuit map, we can see there, red sector 1, blue sector 2, yellow sector 3. There is just the two slow speed corners, so that new front wing needs to go to work at the start and end of the lap for us. Attributes, we can see there. Yeah, it's really disheartening, isn't it? You know, we put so much time and effort into getting these upgrades through, and it really feels like it doesn't really move you anywhere, but that's okay. Time considerations, a very short pit stop loss here, so an extra stop is not the worst thing you can do. It's expected to be a it's expected to be a one stop, but that will go out the window, of course, with the rain anyway. But the soft tyre is a second a lap faster than the hard tyre, but you don't necessarily need to use the hard tyre anyway, so anyway, we'll see. We'll just have to see what the weather does, won't we? It's typically been a Verstappen race, not this year in real life, of course, and well, let's hope not here as well. Let's go and have a look. Stoffel Vandoorne, I think at this point we can say 18th or better with both drivers, and go from there. 18th, it just means we're beating the Saubers and the Haasers, doesn't it? We've got and the Haasers and the Alpines. We've got to be saying that we can do that. So I'll go and do some free practice. It's going to be a wet one, so get your emergency ponchos out, and I'll see you for qualifying. Alright, so we've done free practice, and, well, I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure about this one. FP1, we were down there in 17th and 20th. Now, we do have older engine parts in, the powertrain, gearboxes, all that sort of stuff. And this is a power circuit. But 20th and 22nd in FP2, and then FP3, yeah, 17th and 20th. So, I'm not sure. Now, something that did happen with Vandoorne's little incident in Hungary is that he did destroy a gearbox, basically. So that's likely penalties later in the season. I don't know if a gearbox is going to affect him too. Let's stick on a new one. We're going to have to take a penalty at some point, so let's give him the best car we can for his home race. You can see we've nailed both setups. It looks like Q1 is going to be wet, so let's see if we can... Where was it? We did a really good... was it... I can't remember now. Was it Austria maybe, where we got both cars into Q3? I mean, that would be very ambitious, but let's go see if we can do that again. And we can have a quick look at the Belgian-inspired AV racing car going out onto the track. I wonder if it would have looked a little bit better if maybe yellow at the front and black in the middle. Anyway, still looks pretty good, I think. Alright, so we are on board with Vandoorne for this first lap. He did lock up going into the final corner, but that's okay. We'll give him that one. And, yeah, Doan, I waited a little bit too long as we were just taking in the wonder of Vandoorne's car, and he's ended up at the back. So hopefully he doesn't get too badly affected by an increase in rain on the track. But let's have a look here. Vandoorne, so far so good. If you have any ideas, too, of special liveries we can do, like for certain tracks, and roughly, you know, sort of explain your design in the comments, and I can try and deliver on that. What we don't want to do is have a different livery for every race. But obviously, for the two drivers' home races, I'd like to do something. Obviously, we simmed Australia this year because the car was just not competitive. But yeah, I think those are the two that we want to do. I think it's so that for this year, it's Belgium and Australia. Next year, I think we'll have to have a look at driver contracts actually coming into the winter break to see roughly what we can do. I'm quite happy with these two, to be honest, but we'll see. I'm not sure if they've got contracts. If they do have contracts, I'm not sure if they can be poached off of us, because I think drivers, well, staff as well, I think they can be poached. I'm just not sure exactly, you know, how potent that poaching is. But we've got Vandoorne dropping down the order, but crucially ahead of Bottas, Albon, Gasly, now Ocon, Sargent. So he's not done too badly as we all come across the line, and Vandoorne is 14th. So if the rain comes down now, both cars are through. So we did get both cars through. There was a brief window where the track dried up, but it sort of back to where it was at the start, but it didn't dry up enough for anybody to go faster than us. And I got caught out a little bit by it. I sent us back out, but by the time I sent us back out, it was too late. It started raining again. But anyway, we've got both cars through. It is mostly the usual suspects that have been knocked out. So let's go to Q2. Alright, so it is definitely raining, but it looks as though it's going to dry up in the next little bit. So that being the case, it looks like it's definitely going to be very intery towards the end. So we will we'll hold off here. Alright, so here we go. I think it's 40 seconds ago. We may have been able to get away, as the track does go to technically dry. We may have been able to get away with an inter, with a dry tyre here, but we saw in Austria that anything below, or above I should say, sort of 85 mil, even 80 mil, the inter was still a bit quicker. So I don't think we've necessarily done the wrong thing, because I think we would have spent too much of the lap. Even if it does sort of now go down, I think we still would have spent too much of the lap on a, you know, where inters would have been the better option. But what will be interesting is anybody out there on, no one's out there on soft tyres anyway. It'll be very interesting to see where this stacks us up. We're not going faster. You wouldn't expect us necessarily to go faster, but everybody has essentially finished. If we do a good lap here in good conditions, we could get both cars into Q3 again. And we're becoming a little bit of a wet qualifying session master here if we can do it. Vandoorne goes third. Vandoorne, can he go up there as well? Vandoorne goes third as well. Well, Norris has ruined that, and so has Verstappen, but 5th and 6th. Go on, boys. We will have some of that, won't we? Magnificent stuff. All right, to Q3. Alright, so it is wet, and it's going to continue to be wet, it looks like. So let's go straight out in case this is the best conditions that we get. Track conditions look like they're going to be fairly stable. So yeah, I think we definitely want to go straight out and see what we can do here. Nobody else is doing this, which is always a little bit concerning. I don't think this will be our best lap, so let's stay up here and see where that puts us. So we have the only 2 times on the board. Track conditions, we come in, we put on... It's still going to be a wet tyre, isn't it? So everybody else is going out now. Let's use the same tyre just in case we need a wet tyre for the race. So we've got a new wet tyre. And I think we go out now. It is just starting to dry up a little bit. Now, is it going to dry to the point of inters? That would be the big question here, wouldn't it? Let's, oh, it's Vandoorne's home race. Let's stay on board with him. And... No, if you waited to the very end, would it have gone to inters? Again, it's going to be right on that precipice, isn't it? That you're probably better off just playing it a little bit safe with a tyre that we know is going to work. Now, I'm going to imagine... Yeah, people are going faster than us. These cars are out laps, so ignore them. But everybody that's on a lap is going faster than us. Vandoorne has gone faster. Vandoorne has also gone faster. Yeah, it's the best much better conditions than what we had for our first lap. So Sonoda has gone fastest ahead of Sainz. And it was 2.5 seconds faster than us. So how much of that is just going to be track conditions, as Russell goes ahead of us as well. This is all completely expected, isn't it? So wait a second, Norris, Hulkenberg and Perez have not done a lap time. So worst case scenario, we're going to be starting 6th and 7th. Let's see if we can go above anybody else. What has happened there? I thought Vandoorne went to pole. I thought he was on pole. Anyway, we'll take that, won't we? Even if Piastri does a better time, which you assume he will do. 6th and 7th. That's a high, isn't it? So, fantastic starting positions. We're going to go backwards. I think we all know that, but could we sort of stop the bleeding and stay in the points? All right. So, okay. So this is looking like wet race throughout, based off of that strategy, doesn't it? It's going to go to dry tires at the end, if our weather center's right. Is this going to be a dry tire period? Possibly. It might be worth making sure that the tires, they are going to get there, and then potentially I'm going to have to very much keep an eye on what if this is changing around at all, aren't I? But that is definitely, again, it's like Austria, isn't it? If the dry tires at the end might be something worth doing, and especially if we get a safety car or a red flag, definitely need to keep an eye on that. But yeah, it's going to be Inter, it looks like, to start things off. There's no real risk. It's going to be the wettest it's going to be is at the start, which is a wet tyre. We've got a good starting position, though, don't we? There's no point taking a risk, I don't think, because we've got a good starting position anyway. All right, let's go do this. All right, welcome back. It's hard to pick us out, isn't it, with the different livery? I can't even see. I think that's us there and there, maybe. Let's jump. Oh, no, not that one. We're ruining it. This one. Let's jump on board and see where we end up here. Again, I don't think we want to defend because we just want to make sure we get the best race that we can here. So we've held position off the line. Let's jump on board with Doan so that we can keep an eye on the car in front of us. What's going on there, Jack? Yeah, I mean, we expect to drop back. I mean, Perez is going to get us. Norris is going to get us. We know that for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a Ferrari quite a ways back. We're going to need a bit of a crazy race, I think, for this to...
Give me updated on conditions.
What's happened there? Was he just giving him dry lines of forming? I mean, they're not, Stoffel. It's still quite wet, mate. Yeah, we're going to want to very much try and... well, it's not going to be... There's not going to be any DRS. So that is potentially a good thing. The problem, of course, is that we know we're not the quickest in the straight line. We do have our new chassis and front wing, but that's not going to make a huge difference. Jesus, that was easy, wasn't it? All right, so there's a reality check for us. Yeah, well, like I say, we need a bit of a crazy race, don't we? Okay, so after a little bit of an early race collapse, and Doan is still going backwards a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean somebody else has got past him. Vandoorne, though, is doing quite a good job, it must be said. Now, he is holding up Norris, who is parked up our backside, but there's a little bit of a gap you can see behind to Hulkenberg, and Norris has not been able to get past down the straights. Now, I don't know if we'll get a good view of it here, and this will probably be the one as Doan loses another position now. Yeah, they're not quite able to get past Vandoorne down the straights, which is very, very promising indeed. He's pushing him through the corner there. But as long as this is the case, yeah, I mean, they've done some good laps behind us there as Doan goes down another place. But let's see if we can hold him off another lap down the Camel Straight. You can see he is all over us, but then when he pulls out of the slipstream, he doesn't really have it to get past him. And as long as that's the case, then, you know, happy days. As there he goes, he does get him now. So I had to open my big mouth. But anyway, Hulkenberg's right there as well. So we're probably about to see Vandoorne go back through the field a little bit with Doan. But, well, it was nice while it lasted anyway. Alright, so a quarter of the way through the race, more or less. And, not quite, because it's only 44 laps, so we're actually quite a ways off. Sonoda with a mechanical issue in front of us. Let's hope that gets more serious. The track is more or less on its way back from the driest point. I'm looking at this. If this was still damp, that's going to be very, very marginal, whether it's dry or not. Oh, is that one of ours, boys? Oh, and Vandoorne is locked up.
Don't worry about that now.
So let's take a look at the replay.
We're following the action through
He was
turn
doing
5.
such a good job.
The brakes couldn't cope, and hopefully there's not too much damage to the tyres.
Just go straight through. Come on, man. Every time I come back, something goes wrong. We've got Stroll right behind him now as well. Maybe we shouldn't have been pushing, but I think if we weren't pushing, I don't think we would have been keeping those cars behind us. Anyway, my point was that that's going to be very marginal dry. So, I mean, it might be worth now taking a risk if it does, because we've got, at this point, nothing to lose, really. But that's just really, really disappointing, obviously. Let's see what sort of pace he has. Maybe he can come back at them a little bit. But those are some very, very quick cars in front of us. Alright, well, we just had a crash in front of us, Hulkenberg and Stroll, and we actually drove through the debris of this. It's allowed us to catch up a little bit, but as you can see, they both kept going. So it's not like it's two retirements. Cars are annoyed. I imagine that'll be pinned on Stroll, sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. But yeah, we can see them there, and there's going to be some form of damage to them, surely. Now, one thing I was just looking here as well. If we look at intervals, we're 3 seconds ahead of Bottas with Vandoorne, and I think what this shows is that as things, no penalties. That's maybe didn't leave me enough room. It looks as though a little bit like we may have pushed a little bit clear, at least around this track, a little bit clear of the tail enders, and maybe we're just a little bit on our own, and we're sort of pushing up in towards the midfield teams, or we're certainly closer to them. Yeah, I mean, we had to back out of that lap, and we still did a 2:02, which is a fair way off the front, the point scoring teams. But I'm hoping if we can get ourselves into the situations after the summer break where this is where we race sort of just off the back of those league teams, and then if we do get a silly race where cars are retiring, there's crashes and safety cars and things like that, that maybe we start to get to a position where we have the pace to be able to sort of pick up some scraps, where realistically before we were what, 30 seconds? We used to be 30 seconds behind Hulkenberg the last couple of races. So the fact that we're sort of hanging on, even though they're pulling away again now a little bit, they've been pulling away by sort of tenths of a second rather than whole seconds a lap. So yeah, let's see what they've done this lap compared to us. And I think the fact that Vandoorne was able to hold off, I mean, they got past him because of a mistake, but the fact that he's been able to hold them off, yeah, you can see again there, I mean, Hulkenberg's done a good lap, but only 3/10 lost to Stroll. I'm hopeful anyway, maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part. Alright, so we are bringing Vandoorne in this lap. It's his optimal lap. I was going to try and push him on a little bit, but he's been catching Vandoorne, who has been catching Hulkenberg. Now, Vandoorne ran a little bit wide through Eau Rouge. Didn't lose, or Radion, I think it technically was. Didn't lose too much time, but we don't need to be holding each other up, so we'll split our strategies here a little bit. And yeah, see where we go. Yeah, so you can see we lost about a second, 2 seconds maybe, to Hulkenberg that last lap. Good stop. My original plan was to try and hang out and wait for us and see if we get a safety car, but Vandoorne comes out not too badly off there. He's nicely got 6-second gap to drive into as well, so let's deploy him and try and see if we can get an undercut on Hulkenberg, because obviously Vandoorne wasn't too far away on him either. And yeah, because everybody is going to be coming in shortly. You can see Norris is stopped. He was the first one, and Vandoorne was the second one. So yeah, we're not going to be waiting too much longer for Vandoorne, because he's had a couple of moments that's taken life out of his tyres. As Stroll has come into the pits here now as well, so it looks like everybody perhaps is going to start and come in. If we look at the track, it's not really, you can see there, it's not going to get dry at the end now. This is the only spell, but I don't think Vandoorne's going to get his tyres there to even wait, to see if there's a chance that it could come out as dry. We've got a yellow flag. That's a nothing. It's Sargent locking up. And so Hulkenberg has come out 4 seconds ahead of us. So that's a bit of a shame. Do we All right, let's send a full push on Vandoorne and see if we can get an overcut, sorry, on Hulkenberg. I don't think there's any point coming in this lap because we're not going to make anything up anyway. So let's try and go a little bit longer, do some proper pushing, and see if who's this coming past? Stroll. He was ahead of us anyway, wasn't he? Excuse me. Yeah, and just see he's into his pit window now anyway. So that was a 2.0. Dylan did a 157. Now he is pushing as well. How far are we behind Hulkenberg? He's still a little ways up the road. Alright, well, we'll come back in a lap or two's time for Vandoorne stop and see if this overcut plan works out. Alright, so we're coming in this lap with Vandoorne. He's not really... I mean, Hulkenberg has closed up quite a bit, actually. I don't think he made a mistake. Anyway, so he's coming in this lap. We'll see what we get. And he's going to have fresher tyres, which is obviously a good thing. Whether they'll be fresh enough, I guess, is the other problem that we might have. Dylan is catching Bottas, who I don't think has stopped yet. And off on go. So 2.7 seconds, essentially. He comes out behind Dylan, does he? 6 seconds behind Dylan. So something's not quite worked out there the way I was hoping it would. But he does have fresh tyres, so we'll see if he can make good use of them. Alright, so just a quick update. We're still on the lead lap, which is very, very nice. We're not going to be for much longer. Vandoorne is next car to be lapped. And he's about 4 seconds away, I think. 5 seconds away. So maybe not this lap, but next lap he'll go a lap down. Which is the longest we've lasted into a race for a while. Now, yes, this is a very long lap. So perhaps it's a little bit misleading. But, you know, if we look at that overall race distance, I think it's the furthest that we've gone anyway. Now, we're still in a little Aussie Villain bubble, or the Aussie Villain Racing bubble anyway, 7 seconds ahead of Williams. Crucially, I think we're ahead of both Williams, so it may be that just on general pace, and this is what this has been. Yes, we qualified well, and we dropped down, but we've held position 14th and 15th, which suggests that's not a fluke. And we're ahead of a Haas, both Williams, both Saubers, both Alpines. I think that's pretty good. It shows we've taken a step forward. We've got a couple of mechanical issues. If they can all go a little bit worse off, then we'll be 11th, which will be annoying, but in all likelihood will move us up a place in the constructors, back ahead of... Who's the one that's ahead of us with no points? 11th is as good as you can get, obviously, with no points, but usually you might lose one, but not more than that. So unless we can get a late race safety car or something, you can see track conditions are getting close to dry, but this is what we were expecting. It maybe not quite getting there, and this is as dry as it's going to get anyway. So yeah, Vandoorne's just got a lap down, has he? Yes, he has. And yeah, so that's all fine. It's all fine. We're going well. I don't think we're going to... Albon's a bit quick, isn't he? 54. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe Albon will get Vandoorne, but I don't think he's getting Dylan, unless there's a mistake, of course. Alright, well, going through, I'd say going through lap traffic, being the lap traffic that leaders were going through, it's brought the two cars together. So Vandoorne is now right behind Dylan. We'll let them race it out. We're 14th and 15th. It's going to be up there with what probably would be our best result as a team. I think we've had a couple of 14ths before, and maybe a 13th as well on the redo, I think, at Miami, wasn't it? But, as long as I don't crash, there's ultimately not that much riding on it. I said don't crash, guys. There is quite a few mechanical failures kicking about, but again, I don't think that's going to matter too much. So we'll jump on board with Dylan now. Actually, we could jump off board here, couldn't we, and have a little look at the special livery in action. I do wonder, yellow, black, red might have been the way to go, wouldn't it? But anyway, I'm trying to think now the order of the Belgian flag. That looks right. Maybe it's back to the front. Is it red? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is what we've got now. You can see there's a Ferrari coming up behind us to lap us. If we look at the intervals, again, Albon's 5 seconds behind us. Hulkenberg is gone. Hulkenberg, though, usually is over 30 seconds, so we've halved that deficit. Now, 30 seconds seems a lot, but, you know, over the course of a race, you know, it's like 0.4 a second a lap or something like that. So the fact that that Ferrari caught us quick, didn't it? Jesus. But yeah, you know, so the fact that we've been able to cut that that deficit down to Hulkenberg, I think is a really, really good sign. It'll be interesting to see after summer break we go to Zandvoort. Now, our front wing could have quite a big benefit to us there, so that will be an interesting one to see if that maybe that's a race, and it's a bit more difficult to overtake there as well. It'll be interesting to see if maybe that is a track that we could maybe nick a point. I do wonder if we're in the zone now. I think we are in the zone where a bit of a weird race could see us pick up some points, whereas I didn't think before we were ever in that zone. But for a lot of this race, we've been more or less matching, and we can't do it now because cars are getting lapped, so the lap times are very, very much fluctuating. But I do think that we're more or less doing a similar pace, you know, to Stroll, to a high 54 to a mid 55. You know, that's still a big gap, obviously, but it's a lot closer than we have been previously. So, yeah, like I say, I am cautiously optimistic that we might be able to do something. Now, one thing that we might need to keep an eye on here is on this last lap, Mr. Albon making a big push to try and get Jack Doohan. We do not want that to be happening. We want to get our 14th and 15th places, please. He's not going to run out of petrol before the end, so let's just go on, Jack. Don't let him pass, mate. Always defend. Always defend. Don't let him do this to you. Get your 15th. It might even be
Max
has
Verstappen
Doohan had a
over the
14th.
finish line,
Oh,
and today's winner.
how was he so quick? Where did he come from? Ah, this is close. This is very, very close. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's defending. He's doing very well. He's left the door open, though, but there's no way through. Well done, Jack. Got his elbows out and holds off a very fast finishing Alex Albon there for 14th and 15th. 53.4 he did. He was a second and a half faster that last lap. Yeah, so like I say, we've gone backwards there from qualifying, but again, it was us making the most of a qualifying than I think actually having that pace in the car. And not by much, but we've beaten both Williams there, both Alpines, both Saubers, and a struggling Haas. So I'm pretty pleased with that, I think. I think I am. It's not going to move us up in the constructors, I wouldn't have thought. We're still 18th and 22nd for Doohan. He needs one of those good finishes, doesn't he? And in the constructors, we're still 10th. So we've got to find a better result to beat Sauber on that one. Pit stops, not much for us there, so that's disappointing. We go down to 4th in those standings, equal with RB as well. But with both cars getting inside the top 18, we crack $1 million for that race as well in sponsorship bonuses, which is very, very useful as well. And Jack Doohan is now a 76 rated driver as well on the back of that, so that can only be a good thing for him. We've got a sponsorship. What's this? Oh, this is for that particular period, so that's fine. We've done that. So that's all good. And there we go. We are officially at the summer break. Zandvoort is the next one, the Max Verstappen Dutch Grand Prix. And do we have anything coming for that one? There's no research. We will have front wing and chassis backups, which is nice. The board, I'm assuming they're going to be pretty pleased with that. They're happy with race performances now, which they should be. For a first-year team, we're very much in the midfield now. We've moved away from the back of the grid, which is huge. And the cost cap, again, I've just got to be a little bit careful with this. But 31.5 million remaining. We're going to have to buy some engine parts, which is going to take chunks out of that. But that's looking fairly comfortable, isn't it? So if you've enjoyed that, thumbs up, subscribe if you're new. I will see you post-summer break for the Dutch Grand Prix. Take care.